Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge, it's your Friday night show. I thought I was going to be talking about Erik ten Hag's transfer frustration, speaking in his press conference about not getting a striker in the January transfer window and how that could jeopardise potentially what he's trying to do this remainder of the season. We also want to talk a bit about Hag and Klopps. Some people are saying, should that make Man United push the button on Ten Hag because there's going to be competition for a manager in the summer? We'll talk about that. But the big headline is Marcus Rashford under fire. And I personally think this is a little bit unfair, a lot unfair, and very over the top. Look, the story is that Marcus Rashford has been filmed and photographed out in a nightclub in Belfast. I don't think there's little dispute about that. He wasn't training today because he's ill. Some people are putting two and two together and going, he was out on the piss last night, he's hungover, it's unacceptable, Man United are training ahead of a big game. Exactly. Of course, if this was proven to be the case, then I would sit here and say it's bloody disgusting. The arrogance, the petulance, the total disrespect for this football club is a disgrace, and he should be put up for sale. And if Ineos don't see that, then they're certainly not what we need taking control of the footballing side. I agree with all that. But flip the coin the other way. If he's out on Wednesday night, which is a night off for Manchester United players, what is he doing wrong? He's in Belfast to do something with a football club, as we've seen. If he goes out on Wednesday night and he can't train on Friday because he's got an illness and it's got nothing to do with being out on Wednesday night, then I don't see what the problem is. I would be the first person on here to, call out a player for not having the right standards at Manchester United. And I don't care who it is. Over the last few years, it's not been good enough. But I also am here to call out personally that I think it's a witch hunt. That I think there's no evidence. And I think that until the evidence is proven, jumping onto Rashford and demanding he's sold and calling him this, that and the other is just pure agenda. And we must be better than that. We moan about other outlets and other people being like this. We should be better than that as Manchester United fans. I don't care if you think Rashford's shit. I don't care if you think he shit's gold. I don't care if you think we should sell him. I don't care if you think we should keep him forever. It matters not where you are on this. But what you mustn't do is allow that to cloud your judgment on something like this. It's horrendously speculative. I've seen people on social media saying he's missed training because he's hungover. Well, you know what? I'm sure Marcus Rashford can't be asked to go and sue people for it, but this is what I mean. It's ridiculously speculative. Now, I hear all the time that Rashford's out clubbing every week at China White, this, that and the other, but I don't see any pictures of it. I don't see any evidence of it. There's plenty of rumours. There's plenty of rumours about United players in the past. There's always rumours, but I always think with those rumours, let's take a big pinch of salt on it because we don't actually know what's going on. What we do know is going on is that we can't, and I agree with Stian, you've got to back the player. We can't buy anybody in January, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We're talking about replacing our manager. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But we're also talking about a proportion of our fan base saying, get this lazy shit out of our football club. Get this clubbing party boy out of our football club. And yet, if that happened tomorrow, where do we go? We don't have enough strikers as it is. We don't have enough forwards as it is. So what is it actually you want? Is this just an agenda-driven campaign against Rashford? I'll believe anything to get that idiot out of our football club. Or is it actually about trying to get the best out of him over the next 4 months and reassessing in the summer? Because I'm in the camp in the latter. I'm not ready to sell Rashford. I'm not ready to say, kick him out. I want him to deliver over the next 4 months. I want him to deliver the 350k a week that we pay him. I want to deliver the star status that he has in this team. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and the benefit of the lack of evidence that he wasn't out clubbing in Belfast last night and he was actually ill and had been out on the Saturday night, on the Wednesday night. Look, some of you are not going to care about this. Some of you will. But the bottom line is, we've got to be better than this. We can't do 2 + 2 and make 6. The stakes are too big. These sort of rumours go around the fan base and it damages somebody who's already, as I said 2 weeks ago. I feel that with Rashford at Manchester United, it's alarming how split the fan base is anyway. I feel that with Rashford, there are people... Look, I know Ricky's not a fan of his, and I think that's about footballing stuff, and I know other people aren't as well. But it's alarming how our poster boy, our biggest player, our biggest social media player, our biggest brand player, whatever you want to call it, our biggest talent even, is ridiculously low polled in the fan base at the moment. And what I mean by that is his popularity is low. There are people who love Rashford and there are people who don't want him at the club. And that's ridiculous. He's already up against that. So to throw rumours out there and make that potentially get worse only damages him, but damages us and damages us as a football club. And we can't do anything about it. Now, if Sir David Brailsford and Sir Jim Radcliffe and Blanc and Barada and everybody else are looking to make elitism at Manchester United the norm, then Marcus Rashford, if he is doing what people say he's doing, is going to fall away. And what a stupid time to do it as well. When Ineos are running a strategic review, what a stupid time to go out on the piss and miss training because you're hungover. Which is exactly why I don't think he has. Wednesday night was a night off for Manchester United players. Who knows what other players went out down the pub? Like, whether they should do that or not, well, look, I don't think they're banned from doing it. Whether you would do that as a professional athlete, whether certain players are doing it at other clubs, is up for debate. But the bottom line is, it's not banned. It's not. United players are not banned from going out on a night out on their night off. It's not. So we can't move the goalpost, but because you don't want that player at the football club. And I would do this for anybody. I don't care whether it's McTominay, Rasmus. It matters not to me. I mean, I do like Rashford as a player. I think he can get back. But I do think this is really unfair. And I know I'm going to be a silent voice on this. I know the majority are piling on. I've seen it. It'd be very easy for me to come on and go, it's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. He's out on, but I actually have read it. I've actually spoken to a few people. And look, even Manchester United have said this. Manchester United believe a video of Marcus Rashford going into a Belfast nightclub was taken on Wednesday night before a day off yesterday. Rashford missed training today after reporting ill, but no issue apparently. So that's the only thing I can go off on this. I can only go off what official parties are saying. And there is a flip side to that coin, of course there are. But I cannot sit here and honestly say, he didn't train today because he's hungover. It's an absolute disgrace. Get this prat out of our football club. Because there's also a viable other side where on a night out, when he's in Belfast for legitimate reasons, he's gone to a nightclub, woken up the next day, may not even had a drink, gone out for a meal, felt ill, and missed his flight back. And therefore he can't train today because he's not well and Man United are not concerned about it. And this is what I mean about life. When people, I get it on social media all the time, people hear something bad about you, they pile on because they don't like you. People who like you pile in and say, hold on a minute, be fair, this could not be true. And I'm going to do the same with Rashford. People are going to pile on because they don't like him, etc., etc. But without the lack of evidence, I'm going to say, I think he was out on Wednesday night. And I think there's a massive difference between being out on Wednesday night and Thursday night. If he's out last night before training, it's disrespectful, it's disgusting, etc. like that. But was he drinking on a night out? I mean, why was he in Belfast the night before Manchester United? All these questions. But the belief is, from the club and everybody else, is that he was out on Wednesday night. And if he was out on Wednesday night, I'm sorry, what was Harry Maguire doing on Wednesday night? What was Rasmus doing on Wednesday night? What was Bruno doing on Wednesday night? What was Garnacho doing on Wednesday night? Probably the same thing most footballers do. Different things. Some of them might be down the golfing range. Some of them might be playing on the computer. Some of them might be having a film down the cinema. Some of them might be at a restaurant. Some of them might be in a nightclub. This happens. Now, maybe we should be buying players that don't like going out to nightclubs and stuff. There's something to be said about that, but it's not illegal for them to do it. Michael says, are you afraid of the Rashford PR team? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not afraid of anybody at Manchester United, and you know that full well. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'll call it out how it is. Rashford's not been good enough this season. There is a very valid reason to say that maybe he shouldn't be part of the future of Manchester United. I would assess that in the summer. He's nowhere near the level he needs to be. He's nowhere near the level the contract we've given him to. But we've also seen what he can do, and with the changes that are about to come in, maybe there's a future there. But I'm not going to go on a witch hunt. And it disappoints me that people do. I mean, I've literally seen people on social media saying he's hungover. They deserve to be sued because they've got no evidence of it. Absolutely none. I've seen some people on social media saying he's wearing the same jacket he wore to a Belfast football club yesterday as he wore in the nightclub, so it was clearly Thursday night. Maybe he wore the same clothes from the day before. You know, we can't just jump on this, because this has got nothing to be honest, if I'm completely honest about this, it's got nothing to do with what night Rashford went out. It's got nothing to do with Rashford. It's got nothing to do with Manchester United. It's got nothing to do with what players do in their spare time. My focus is on, we've still got a chance this season to do something. We could win the FA Cup. We could climb the league. We need to do that, regardless of whether you want the manager to go, you want Rashford to go. Next season, I believe we need to be in Europe in some way, shape or form. To do that, we're going to have to perform in the second half of the season. What I don't want to see is what happened to Rangnick in them last few months, where toxicity reigns from January to May, the season falls off a fucking cliff, and things go from bad to worse. I'm all for this, whatever positivity that seems to be there at the moment, hitting the first team and is getting a bit of a bounce. I don't want to see United dropping off a cliff and falling off a cliff. I don't want to see that. And I think stories like this do us no favours. I never liked it when Fellaini got booed by fans. I never liked it when Maguire got booed by fans. And I never liked it when Pogba and Martial got booed by fans. I'll be critical of those players. I was very critical of Fellaini. But I don't like that booing of players. And I don't want to see that happening with Marcus Rashford because of a story that may or not be true. And look, if you're saying I'm scared in the chat, that's absolutely fine. I think you're scared of not running an agenda against a player when you've got no evidence. I think you want to believe he was out last night. I think you want to scream and shout that he should be sold, he's a disgrace, and he was on the piss last night, and that's why he's not at training today. I think you're scared to face the fact that you don't like that player, but he may well be part of a witch hunt that's completely and utterly irrelevant if he was out on Wednesday night. There may be more evidence to come on this. I mean, look, to be honest with you, if there is anything sinister here, I would imagine Erik ten Hag will lose faith in the player. So we will find this out very, very quickly, because Erik ten Hag cannot treat Sancho and Ronaldo differently to Marcus Rashford. That can't happen. That you will lose your respect in the dressing room. So, you know what? Jadon Sancho putting a tweet out on Twitter undermining the manager is very, very, very bad. A player going out on the piss the night before a training session and not even being in the country for the training session is worse. So there will be a reaction if it's true, but I'm not jumping on that bandwagon at the moment because I just don't have any evidence that it is true. Mark, stop. You're doing my head in, says Lee. If Rashford was playing well, no one would care what he's doing off the pitch, says Wickster. I think that's a great point. Mark, what happened to you? Ever since the incident, you have taken a 180 turn on Rashford. You're still allowed to have an opinion on him. But Dan, that's just not the case, is it? And you're not going to lure me in on a Friday night. I'm in a good mood. I'm looking forward to having a drink with you on That's Football and you know, talking about Klopp and stuff like that. And I'm enjoying doing this show as well. I've given Rashford 2 out of 10 a few weeks ago in player ratings. I've spoken about him potentially being sold. Stop trying to deflect your insecurity onto me. I ain't scared of anybody at Manchester United. If I think Rashford's shit and he needs to be sold, you'll hear it here first. I just have a different opinion to you. And I'm not witch hunting any player when there's a lack of evidence just to get clicks and likes. Because I'm sure if I was going mad, kick him out of our club, I'd be viral. It'd be on Twitter, it'd be on TikTok, it'd be on Facebook, it'll be viral. It'd be easy to do that. So you can sit down with your agendas, because actually I've never been like that. I've always rated Rashford. I think he's fell off a fucking cliff this season, but I've always said I rated him. And as for the little, the little Twitter thing, it wasn't even me, it was Faz. It wasn't even me on that show. So, and I defended Faz for it because it was got nothing to do with what they thought it was. And I called it out. I said it at the time. I ain't fucking scared. I'm just saying I'm not immature and I'm not stupid and I'm not childish. And I'm not going to say he was out last night in Belfast when everybody else is pointing to the fact that he was out on Wednesday night. It's a storm in a teacup and it's being used. It's exactly what it says on the thumbnail. It's more drama. Pile on to Manchester United. What was fucking Chelsea players doing on Wednesday night? What were Man City players doing? You know, were they out in a club? You know, is Marcus Rashford the only player that goes to a fucking football club, into a club? Of course he's not. This to me is people who don't like Rashford, who want him to be sold, looking for a reason to try and get him out of the club. And I think it's bloody ridiculous because we need him over the next few months because we're not buying anybody in the January transfer window. Julian says, do you think Rashford would care anyway? He's got the contract, he's got the power, his mentality has been crap. Nobody buys that Manc born and bred stuff anymore, says Julian. It's been like this for a while now, says Tevin. Bottom line, do you accept £80 million for him, says Captain? Well, that's a conversation for the summer. We're not going to do it at the moment. Mark, you're alone on this one. Are we all wrong, says Tam? I'm not bothered. If I wanted to play for likes, we'd have had a very different United stand over the last 10 years. I don't care. You've got every right to have your opinion. This channel has always been about different opinions. I'm just saying, I don't just bloody go live and go, oh, let's see what the popularist opinion is. I actually do some research. I actually speak to people. And nobody has clarified officially that he was out last night. And everybody is saying it's Wednesday. So I'm not going to pile on what... To me, it makes no... I don't think there's anything wrong with being in a nightclub on Wednesday night. It's a night off. I don't think there's anything wrong with him being out on Wednesday night. If it's Thursday night, well, it's very, very different. But where's the receipts on that? Always wearing the same clothes. Come on. Rashford's party life means nothing to me, to be honest. I want him to improve on the pitch or we move him on. This blown out of proportion because of his poor form, says Sean Andrew. Louise, welcome to the Members Club. Absolutely love that. Thank you very much. Get your badge in. People are saying, can we do a poll? On what? What is the poll? I mean, I'm more than happy to do a poll, but what are we going to do a poll? Was he out on Thursday night or Wednesday night? Oh, 80% say Thursday night. Are you going to prove it? Are you going to actually prove it? This is what I mean. You know, the poll comments actually make me actually justified. Was he out on Wednesday night or was he out on Thursday night? 90% said he was out on Thursday night with no fucking evidence. This is what I mean. It's so ridiculous. You've got no evidence and you're going hungover. That's why he's not there. He's out on a Thursday night. Come on. As a human race, we've got to be better than this. We've got to be better than this. This could be you one day at work or or down the pub or at a football team. Someone puts a rumour about you and everyone else believes it and you know it's not true. You've got to have some human compassion here. It doesn't matter whether you think he's a good player. It doesn't matter whether you like him. It doesn't matter if you think he's done it or not. Have you got the evidence or is this a witch hunt? And to me, there's no bloody evidence. We must be better. We must be better. We can't just go and throw somebody under the bus on no evidence. Come on. It doesn't matter who the player is. I get it. Some of you don't like him. I get it. Some of you want to sell him. But that's no reason as a human being to jump on a bandwagon because it fits your agenda. Be better as a person. Don't be hateful. Like, literally, sometimes your enemy can do something and you know they haven't done it. Be the bigger person and say, come on, at the end of the day, I don't like the guy, but is there really evidence of it? Poll on whether you have changed your opinion on Rashford since Rashford... No, I'm not doing a fucking poll on that because I know me and I know I'm not scared of that sort of stuff, so shut up. Piss him off and let him party at a different club, says Nathan. And thank you very much for that. Landon says blah, 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 blah. You know what? The chat tonight, you're very, very disappointing. But it's your opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just not going to back down from mine. But it is very disappointing that in 2024, we still live in a world where witch hunt tactics can work. I'd say the same about Scott McTominay here. It's like, and McTominay wouldn't be out drinking, by the way. If you've seen his body, he's fucking like a temple. But you can't run an agenda on a player. And those 24 hours are very different. Wednesday night out in a club to Thursday night out in a club is very, very different. And also, where's the alcohol? Was it just a late night on Wednesday night? Did he just stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning? Was he out by 11 o'clock? Did he have any alcohol? Oh, he's gone in a nightclub in Belfast. He must have gone in there and got absolutely pissed. I bet he was singing Dancing Queen at 3 o'clock in the morning with a bloody Malibu and Coke in his hand. This is how people work. I just think we've got to be better than this. And I don't really care about this. You know, you have your opinion. I'll have my opinion. I'll express my opinion and you won't influence my opinion. I can't see anything. And look, I'll read you an article from Chris Wheeler. This is what's been said by the Mail. Marcus Rashford missed training on Friday morning after an illness forced him to postpone his flight back to Manchester, having enjoyed a midweek night out at the Thompsons Garage Club in Belfast. Footage on social media showed Rashford entering the Belfast nightclub on Wednesday night. Sources close to Rashford say he was out for dinner and had to postpone his flight home after being taken ill the next night. Erik ten Hag revealed that the England international's absence was down to illness. Blah, 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 blah. And Mail Sport have reached out to Manchester United and Rashford's representatives. Rashford was also seen visiting the training ground of Lerne during his trip, where his former teammate Roshan Williams now plays. Mail Sport understands that Rashford had gone out on Wednesday before having a day off on Thursday. It comes after he risked the wrath of his manager after he went out clubbing following United's disappointing loss to Man City in October. Speaking on the incident, that was spoken before. Erik ten Hag. Okay. I mean, look, it references twice that it's Wednesday night. I don't know. Anyway, look, I've said what I've said. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong for people to be saying he was out on Thursday night and saying that he's hungover this morning and missed training because of it, because there's absolutely no evidence of that. And look, what I will say is, if he was out on Thursday night, we'd have the evidence. Simply as that. And what are we about to say? He's on a 2-day hangover. Come on, be better. Be better. I can't influence people. I have no intention of influencing people, but it disappoints me. It disappoints me because I've been a victim of this on a low level before. People put lies out about you and people who don't like you believe it because it makes them feel better. And it just feels a little bit like that. There's people out there who don't like Rashford, so let's believe the worst. We should be better than that. You know, what do I say? What do I say to you all the time? Ignore the haters and focus on the good people. And I thought we had a good community. You know, I thought we had people that, you know, would see that this is a little bit unfair. But there we go. There are bigger things to worry about than what Rashford does in his downtimes, says Emily Derry. Thank you very much, Emily. Anyway, I'm going to move it on. I've said my piece. I want to talk about some other bits. Let's talk about Ten Hag. Let's talk about what he said in the press conference today. But let's also talk about, I found this, talk about let's be better. Let me just read you a tweet from Adam Crafton, who writes for The Athletic, because I just feel this is troublemaking, really. So basically, this is what he tweeted, right? I wonder how Liverpool's bombshell impacts Manchester United's wait-and-see approach with Ten Hag. They've gone from no real major club competition in the managerial market this summer to their biggest rivals, who will likely also have Champions League being in the mix. And I was just like, oh my God. And look, the top reply is, journalists like you is half the reason Man United is in crisis management mode all the time. You get clicks, they get the hate. And then he goes, pretty sure the fact that they've lost 9 games and are out of Europe has more to do with that. Look, again, I think, what the fuck has Jurgen Klopp sacking got to do with Manchester United? What the fuck has Jurgen Klopp's resignation got to do with Man United needing to sack Ten Hag? And you know what? It does annoy me a little bit because, look at the last few minutes. Very, very different to the majority opinion. But I don't care because I will always be true to my opinion and you must be true to yours. You get called the negative stand, and yet we're massively positive about Ten Hag. We're massively positive about Man United, getting better. It's not been very good this season, but there are massive mitigating circumstances. I don't think Ten Hag's picked the same 11 at all this season. He's been missing most of his defence. We've got new ownership on the footballing side. We've got players coming back from injury, and we've got 4 months to see what happens. And then you've got Adam Crafton saying, I wonder how Klopp leaving affects United's wait-and-see options with Ten Hag, because it could be a very competitive managerial market in the summer. We're not sacking Ten Hag. So should we sack Ten Hag now because Liverpool might want a new manager in the summer? I've never heard such bollocks in all my life. It would be disgusting to sack Ten Hag now. Is that the point of that tweet? Oh, Man United should consider
reconsider sacking Ten Hag now so they can get ahead of Liverpool in the race for a manager. What? Why are we sacking Ten Hag? He's not sackable at the moment. His win ratio is still better than most Man United managers, by the way, but he must be given at least a month or two to see what he can do with the best players back. And what's Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool got to do with that, with us? We can't get Xabi Alonso anyway. Xabi Alonso won't come anywhere near Man United, and I think he's number one target for Liverpool. So what does Liverpool needing a new manager have to do with what we're going to do? And apparently we want Potter. Liverpool won't go anywhere near him. But it's just, you know, I think some people some people, you know, I'm very, very credible. They expose themselves sometimes as to just how much they want Ten Hag out of this football club. And yes, we've lost 9 games this season. And yes, we're out of Europe. But the last time I checked, Pochettino and Eddie Howe were around where we are. It's been an odd season. It's been an odd season. And Ineos should not be thinking about sacking Ten Hag at this moment in time, unless the results go really, really, really bad. I feel that it's a clean sheet and we see what's achievable. Got some very difficult games. Wolves away next week. West Ham at home. Aston Villa away. You know, you take three or less points from those 9, and I think the pressure rises again, doesn't it? But I don't, for the life of me, see what Jurgen Klopp deciding to leave Liverpool has anything to do with Manchester United changing their manager. I don't want to see us changing the manager. I genuinely don't. Again, I might be in the minority, but I don't want to see us I don't want to see the manager go. So look, I might be in the minority, but I will call out. I don't care who it is. I don't care whether it's a journalist, a mainstream, a football fan. I don't care. I will call it out when they go witch hunting for our manager at a time where it's not conceivable that he will be sacked, and he shouldn't be sacked. Lose the next 3, I'm going to be in a different place. But you know my stance. I've not got Ten Hag in written across my chest. I just don't want to see Ineos make the same mistakes that Glazers have made for the last 10 years, where every 2.5 years a manager gets sacked by player power and the cycle goes round again. I think the problem a new manager would have at Man United would be huge. You'd be inheriting Jose players, Ollie players, Anthony players, and then you want to bring your own players in as well. Mark, why are our fans treating Erik Ten Hag so badly, says Sean? Well, I will do a poll on that. Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out. Considering it was Ten Hag 75% in the other day, it'd be interesting to see if that's changed. Hi, Mark. If we get to the same coaches for the last 4 minutes, Barrel says, if we got some of the same coaches for the last 4 managers, could that be why they all go back to playing the same counterattacks? Says Barrel Shark. Aidan says, the image of him with drinks in Lavery's pub he is at Switch, which is the Thompson's nightclub on Thursday night, says Aidan. Look, Aidan, if the story changes, people will come back at me. If it gets proven that Rashford's out on Thursday night, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, hopefully. If it gets proven that Marcus Rashford was out on Thursday night drinking alcohol, well, actually, even if he was out in a nightclub till the early hours on a Thursday night when he's got training on a Friday morning, then and I'm sure every one of you will lose their shit at that. And every right to. And I'm sure some of you will come back and go, hold it, Goldbridge, you were wrong. I don't care. I'm not wrong. Because there is no evidence out there at the moment. And if there was, I'd put my hand up and say, look, it's unacceptable. You can't jump on a bandwagon and then go, you were wrong when the evidence comes out. But let's wait and see if the evidence comes out. Because everybody I've spoken to, every article I've read is saying Wednesday night. So I'm not going to jump against it. But if that was the case, Aidan, then there's big questions to answer. Because it's not the first time. Like it says in the mail, you know. I think we have to stop shitting on players for doing things probably every player did. Also, if Man United sell Rashford, I'll start supporting that club because he made me love football, says Hugo. Can't be condemning people with no evidence, says Daniel Starr. That's exactly what I'm saying. Lee says, Mark, mate, you don't go out in nightclubs on weekdays when you work. But I don't know the policy on that, mate. I don't know. I don't think Man United have that policy. I do know for a fact that a lot of Man United players do go in China White in Manchester on a Sunday, Saturday night during the season. So Ten Hag, Man United don't have a policy of you can't go in a nightclub. So you can't say that. Yeah, you can't say, well, you shouldn't do it when it's a personal choice and then they're not banned from doing it. Anyway, let's move it along. What else was I going to talk about? Well, I wanted to just talk about what Ten Hag had to say about in the press conference, and you may have seen Beth talking about it earlier. But I think we have to acknowledge that there is a genuine disappointment on the part of Erik Ten Hag, and I think he demonstrated that in the press conference today. If you didn't hear the direct quote when Beth was talking about it, this is what he had to say. He basically said that we haven't got a transfer budget, and as much as he would like to have one, we don't. This is the direct quote. I looked, but there is no space. There is no space for FFP to do something about this lack of quantity in the striker position. Of course, Rashford can play as a striker, and we have some alternatives. And it's clear that Anthony is out. Martial is out for a couple of months. It's a gap in our squad, and I think we do spend a lot of time as football fans reading journalist stories about club sources, and we discuss them. This is a direct quote from the manager of Manchester United, who said, look, I've looked at it. I want a striker, but there's no space because of financial fair play. And we've got a lack of quantity in that position. You know, I appreciate the honesty from Ten Hag on this because it is an issue, whether you like it or not. And he's acknowledged it. You know, he wanted to bring a striker in. It is a blow. It is a frustration. But United have got no wiggle room because of financial fair play and the fact that Martial's staying. We always knew that United were looking to bring a striker in January, whether it was a loan or a permanent deal or whatever. But it appears that the story that it was dependent on Martial was absolutely correct. If Martial had left Manchester United, that would have been £4 million in wages cleared up straight away. So, yeah, it's worst case scenario, isn't it? Martial stays, but he's also injured. So you have no striker. It's going to be I mean, I don't like this situation. I think it's very unfair I think it's very unfair on Rasmus anyway. You know, he's 20 years of age. He's clearly got the mentality, but he's 20 years of age. You look at Man United striking. I mean, this is incredible. You look at Manchester United striking options 2 years ago: Edison Cavani, Anthony Martial, and Cristiano Ronaldo. You look at Man United's striking options now, 20-year-old Rasmus Højlund. It doesn't matter what you think about Rasmus, and I really like him. I think he's going to be a top player. But no football club can operate with one 20-year-old striker. You've got to have more than that. And you know, we have got an issue if we pick up an injury. I don't think, you know, somebody said, could we do a Rashford in or out poll? I mean, I can do that for you, but I think tensions are running high, and I think we all know what it will be because it's a bit of a witch hunt at the moment. But I don't want to see Marcus Rashford playing up front. I think he struggles up front. I don't think it suits him. So we've basically got Rasmus to play up front, and that's a concern. That is a concern, and it's a concern for Ten Hag. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Hopefully, we don't pick up any injuries. I'd say, touch wood, we are 1 3-month injury away to Rashford and Højlund, or either, from meltdown. We just don't have anything if that doesn't happen. And we're all talking about getting these players back, like Casemiro and Martinez. But what's the flip side of that coin? You get Casemiro and Martinez back, and then you've got no striker. I would have been more than happy bringing Choupo-Moting in, not because I think he's a player for Man United's future, but because I think he's a player that just gives us an option that we just don't have at the moment. Interesting, very interesting. Ten Hag was also speaking about Ineos, and he had this to say. Where was that? It gives spirit in the whole club. Everyone notices this club is going into a period of change, and it's because we want to achieve high targets. Standards have to change. We started with this 1.5 years ago. He also says, I'm sure Ineos and me are aligned on this. We understand we have to change. We started that process last season with the dressing room, but also many departments. I'm very happy to raise the standards and to collaborate more, and Ineos can have a big impact on that. I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've said this to people so many times. I hope Ineos want to work with Ten Hag and give him the structure no manager's had for 10 years since Sir Alex Ferguson's left. I really hope so, but I don't know. They may have their own ideas. But whatever happens, the structure and everything else will be getting better, hopefully. Mark, do you see a big clear out in the summer since Chikorito? I mean, look, you know, Aidan, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. You're a legend. Thoughts on Mainu right back, Diallo right wing, and Mount centre midfield, says Jules. It makes me want to throw up. You make me want to throw up. On the situation with Klopp leaving Liverpool, I have spoken about this on That's Football, and I'm sure I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes' time when we're on the watch along with Spurs and Man City. I'm disappointed that Klopp's going. My best mate messaged me, lives in Ireland. He messaged me this afternoon on WhatsApp, and he said, I'm really disappointed that Klopp's going before we can beat Liverpool. And it caught me actually, because that's right. Klopp's done a great job at Liverpool. And I respect what he's done. And I think he's a loss to the Premier League. Like, he's a personality, but I think my mate's absolutely right. I want to beat Liverpool when they're good. I want to topple Liverpool when they're good. And I think it's a shame Klopp's going. But what will it mean to Liverpool? Well, there's nothing wrong with talking about Klopp going, because Liverpool's our biggest rival. What happens to Liverpool impactly directs us, as does what we do. I've had so many Liverpool fans say to me, it's not funny anymore with United. Like, you know, you're shit. And we'd actually like you to be a bit better. So there's a bit of a challenge. You know, Liverpool against Man United, when you're around the same ability, you know, that's what it's all about. And we've not had that for a while. But I guarantee you Liverpool don't make the same mistakes Man United did. I was thinking about this afternoon. I thought, I've got to bring it into a show. You know, when Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United, we fucked up massively. We massively fucked up. Like, we had a manager that would challenge for the title every year and win it most years. We brought the wrong manager in, and then that manager was allowed to dismantle the backroom staff. Moyes basically came in on a wrecking ball, and that club and everything it built just suddenly hit the reset button. Never should have happened. Never should have happened. And could that happen to Liverpool? Of course it could. But I'll be stunned if Liverpool do what Man United did after Sir Alex and just bring a manager in and say, yeah, kick it all down, knock it all down, get rid of everybody, do what you want. I hadn't thought about it for a few years, and I was just like, it amazes me what we allowed Moyes to do. It amazes me what we did after Sir Alex, where we just literally smashed it all down. And Liverpool won't do that, because what we should have done is bring a manager in that works with what we've got and transitions smoothly from what we've got into the next team. And I guarantee you that's what Liverpool will do. They'll bring somebody in with the same ideas who wants to utilise the team that Klopp's building at the moment. But it will be a big loss to Liverpool. We talk about the 1-1-5 with Pep. What about, well, Klopp's going. There's a gap in the market. Things are starting to open up for United. But we've got to take care of our own house. You know, there are opportunities there. We've got to take control of our own house. Definitely. 73% of you are Ten Hag in. I love that. Absolutely love that. I'm not happy with Rashford's form, but at the end of the day, he's a human. We keep forgetting athletes are people too. I'd be out as well, says Sumi. And Mark, my mate was working in that bar in Belfast. He was at last night. It's definitely last night, says Connor. Connor, thanks for the super chat, but come on. I can't take that. And I promise you now, if it gets proven he was out last night, then it's all bets are off. You know, you can't condone that. You can't accept that. And you'd have to be saying, at what point do you actually put this guy up for sale? Because it's completely disrespectful and he knows it's wrong and it's player power at the extreme. But we don't have that. We don't have that. So I think that you've got to just take it for what it is. The club, the media are pushing this towards Wednesday night. So that is where I stand on it. Cherma, thank you very much for your super chat. Have a great night, Mark. I'm in America and you keep me connected with my Man United family, says Captain. Thank you very much. Chikorito says, do you think we will see a big clear out in the summer? I think there will be a clear out. It just depends what you define a clear out to be. But I do think there'll be a clear out, yeah. Right, I'm going to continue the conversation because I'm on That's Football literally in 5 minutes. So I will see you over there. We can continue talking about this and Klopp and hopefully see Spurs knock Man City out of the cup as well. I'll see you over there in a minute. Legends tonight. Thank you, everybody. Look, this is what we do. We have conversations. You don't have to agree. You can have a different opinion. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't agree with you on this one. I don't agree with a pile-on just because you don't like a player that you're going to believe the worst of them in a situation where the evidence isn't there. That's all I'm saying. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit, and I'll probably see you on That's Football in a few minutes. See you in a bit.